So for those of you who joined today for the first time, my name is Franklin Kluter. I'm part of the Santam Digital team, and I'll be taking you through the broker portal navigation. We are going to go through a few pointers first, and then I'll go over to the demo on the broker portal. So just to remind you again, you will be muted during the session, and you are welcome to post questions and answers in the Q&A section on the Zoom functionality. Then again, we want to ask you to please give through suggestions on the enhancement of the broker portal for both personal lines, commercial lines, or any other functionalities which you can think of. And then the session will be recorded, and we will have a poll 15 minutes before the end of the session. So just please be on the lookout for that. Then just to remind you also of why we are doing this. Yes, we want to market the broker portal and increase the usage, but more so to enable your self-service capabilities so that you don't wait on Santam contact center environment to come back to you with whatever query you have. And then support will be from the digital support hub. You can see the information there, contact detail. And then we'll share an assessment with you, a very short assessment. I think it's around about 10 questions on the assessment. And once you have completed the assessment, you will qualify for CPD certification. Okay. So the first week of the sessions, we did an overview of the broker portal. So we have completed that. And then last week, we started with the service request and the amend functionalities. However, we ran out of time, so we couldn't complete all the navigation on the amend functionality specifically. And I've seen some of the questions that came through and comments. And I think there was quite a lot of interest on the amend functionalities. So we'll definitely go further with this today. So I'll recap on what we did last week, and then I'll continue with the adding of the vehicle bit there. And then I'll move over to today's content, which is how do we request documentation? There was also a request from somebody last week. How do we generate a summary, a policy contract? That I will show to you today. And then next week, we will look at the last session. We will discuss the registering of a claim and how to then track the claims on the broker portal. So I'm going to go into the live demo session now on the broker portal. Today, like I said, I'll do the transactions, but again, where we will start a quote for a vehicle and only on a personalized vehicle. That functionality is not yet available for commercial policy. Then we will do the inquiries, but on policies via the broker portal. So there I'll do a commercial policy and a personal policy, and I'll show you how to generate documents there. The policy number or the search for the policy number will be the same, so there's no change in policy number search. So I'll just click on search button there. And once I have entered my policy number, I will then see a summary of the policy. So just a recap of last week. So I'm now going to show you how to quote for a personalized policy on an existing personal policy. So the requirements there would be the policy should not be in renewal status. There shouldn't be any open work orders, and there must be at least one vehicle on the policy. And immediately you can see my policy there is not in renewal status. There is one vehicle, or at least one vehicle on the policy. And if I navigate to the transactions screen there, you'll see there's no open work orders. If there would have been open work orders, you'd see one of these would read quoted. So it means if quoted is there, this add vehicle functionality will not be available then for usage. So I'm going to click on the add vehicle function. It will then open the capability for me to now quote on an additional vehicle for this specific personal lines policy. So before I can continue with anything, I need to accept the disclaimer which is there. And all what this disclaimer is about is saying that if any of the information is incorrectly captured or any of the information is not correct and will not benefit the client, the Santam will then not be held liable for that incorrect information. Okay, so also all our mandatory fields or required fields are marked with a red asterisk, And if you did not accept the disclaimer, you cannot continue any further or complete any other information until you have accepted that disclaimer, and then you'll see I can now select my vehicle categories. Like I've explained last week, you can select either a date in the future, but you cannot select a date in the past. So I'll just keep on today's date. Our vehicle category is very similar to that of our administrative system. So there are quite a few categories which you can quote on. For this illustration, I will stay on the motor functionality there. Then I'm going to search for my vehicle. And you'll see there is predictive text as you type in. And once I click on my vehicle make and model, you'll also see that the market value will then pull through as the value for this specific vehicle. Also, what we've built in on this tool is interactive scripting. So what the scripting does, it will guide you to understand the insurance rules and the insurance definitions as Santam sees it. I know there was a question about the market value. With some of the questions, I am going to refer you to your relationship manager because I'm not familiar with all the processes on or in your region or in the contact centers. So I'll see the types of questions that will come through, and then if I can answer, we will redirect it to the relationship managers. Okay. So once we have captured the information on this screen, we can then click the next button. But before we click the next button, I want you to keep focus on this information here. You'll see there's my client name. There is the policy number, which I'm working on as well. All the other fields are then also grayed out. I'll click next. And as soon as I click next, the system will tell you, you are now in the process of creating a work order. So a work order also, in other words, is a quote on our side or submission. And there you can see we are now integrating with the policy center system and we're generating the quote. Whilst that is busy doing, I want to show you what it will look like in our administrative system. So I just want to open it there for you quickly. So this is the policy, and there immediately you will see there is the quoting item that I'm busy with now, and you'll see there is my work order number 114211825. If I now go back to broker portal, after this generating quote, that number will then display right at the top there. So let's just give it a few seconds for it to run finish there. So at this point in time, it's just validating information, integrating with the policy center system, and then looking at the background underwriting technicalities there. There is my work order number 114211825. There's my insured amount of the vehicle, the make and model, and there is my immediate premium there. At this point in time, if there are no premiums or no changes to this item, you are happy with as you see the item there, we can then go to actions and we can then send this request through to the contact center. If not, you will have the option to then amend this premium. So you can redefine this premium either to reduce it or to increase it depending what the request is from the client. So our current premium, and I want you to keep eye on the premium, our current premium is 1168.59. So I'm going to do a few changes on this premium. So at this point in time, if for example, you want to change the location, you can just navigate to location and then you can update the location on that screen. Then I want to illustrate this fields here for you because this is where the actual changes will now take place to impact the premium of this specific vehicle. So you'll see on this screen, there we will display all the vehicle detail as we have captured it from the start, except for the auto dealer's code. I think there was a question last week where somebody asked, can we search on the auto dealer's code? At this point in time, no. However, the development team is busy looking at an option to allow you to then search for the correct vehicle by using an MMM code. So the type of cover will default to comprehensive. However, you can open these options here and then select whichever option you want to. The class of use will default to private. However, again, you can change it either to business or farming. I want to leave it on private for now. And then our basis of cover will have options available for 4x4 cover, luxury cover, and then also the standard cover there. The overnight parking as displayed here will be that of the physical location on the policy. So if, for example, there are multiple locations, so we have a main residence, we have a holiday home, and for example, we have other residents on this policy, you will have an option as a drop down where you can go and select where the vehicle will be parked overnight. Then the overnight parking will default to behind gates, and you can go and you can select the other options which are available by means of a drop down. If at any point the regular driver is different to that of the policy holder, then you can either add an additional driver, or we can then note any of the other drivers which is available on this drop down here. So let me go. I'm not going to change anything on the screen. I want to go to the registration screen there. So when we capture the vehicle or search for the vehicle on the very first screen, there's a field where we ask for the registration number. That field is not a compulsory field. However, here on the registration field screen, we are going to ask you to then add a registration information there. Sorry, I can't close my notifications. There's some field or some text running in the background, so that's why it's popping up constantly there. So I'm going to complete my VIN number now. And I'll just say my engine number is unknown. And then for a registered owner, we have drop-down options also available there. So we default to the policy holder. However, you can change it either to the spouse or partner, additionally insured, dependent child, or whatever other option the client wants us to do. So I'm going to leave this bit now, or for now. This button should be active because you are allowed to add the additional interest here. Let me just also give you the disclaimer again, and I think most of you know this line already. I am working on an acceptance environment, which is our testing environment. So some of my functionalities are unfortunately today inactive, but I'll see as we navigate through the screens if I can activate the functionalities. Okay. So now at this point in time, I did not change anything for this specific premium. However, I am moving to the tracking screen now, and this is where I want to note a tracking device for this vehicle. And if I note a tracking device, it should then reduce the premium of this specific vehicle. So you'll see the company offer field has a drop-down, but before you select the drop-down, you must first indicate, does the vehicle have a tracking device? If we say yes, now we can go and select a tracking device make, and then we will say which model of the tracking device is installed on the specific vehicle. If I now recalculate, again, it's updating the administrative system. It will then generate or validate the information, generate the premium, and let's see what will the new premium be. So what I didn't mention in the start is the work order number, that 11421825, can be also used as a reference number together with the policy number. And on the Santam side, we will then be able to search for that reference number by just searching for that specific work order there. Good. So the premium was 1168.59. The premium reduced to 1144.04. Now let's say, for example, the client say, and this was also one of the questions that came out last week, I also have additional extras on this vehicle. Now you need to add the extras to the specific vehicle. We simply navigate to the accessories screen there. And now you will have an option to, let me just refresh there. Sorry, I was too long on that one screen. So let me just go in. Again, this functionality that I'm doing now shouldn't happen in the production system. However, because I am on test, it will kick me off if I'm too long on one specific screen. Okay, so let me just search my policy again. And this is also now that I want to show you now, if there is a draft already on the policy, again, you will go to transactions. You'll see that button is now completely gone. To add a new vehicle, there's the quoted status, which I referred to earlier on. So you can simply click on quoted, and then it will open the specific work order for you. If you want to, at this point, change the address, for example, you navigate to locations. Alternatively, you can just go to the vehicle information. You will then see a list of the vehicle items that's there. Let's just wait for the validation to get done. And this is the vehicle which I started to quote on. So now you can go and you can either add or you can edit the vehicle, and that is what I want to do now. Remember, there's our premium and we wanted to add accessories to the specific item. So I'm going to navigate to accessories and I'm going to click on the add accessories button. So the categories available on the add accessories drop down would be a specified accessory, a non-factory fitted accessory, and in production there's a third one, a factory fitted accessory. So you will then select the option that's available for the client or that the client wants us to add. I'll just say specified for now. I'll select navigation equipment. I'll say it's a GPS and let's say it's 30,000 for example. I'll say save and there is my item added now as an accessory. Let's say I want to add another accessory. Now I'll say non-factory fitted for example. Let's use a sunroof to be silly and I'll just say sunroof. Obviously, the client will give you further descriptions for the item. Let's say it's 15,000 and please forgive me if I'm under budgeting here. I'll say add and now you'll see all my items that I've added for accessories are available under my accessories screen. Now, if I want to delete any one of these items, I simply click on the tick box there. Before I tick, you'll see that button is also disabled. So I'll click there and as soon as I select, the button will then be enabled there. So I'll click on remove accessories and that accessory item will then be deleted. So at this point in time, I want to see how will this impact my premium. I can simply go and recalculate. Again, updating policy center, validating the information, generating the quote, and then it will kick out the updated premium. You don't have to update or recalculate after each and every change. So you can make all the changes at once, and then once you're done, you can then recalculate to see what the premium will be. Why I'm doing that is just to save time, because once you do quite a bit of changes and the system needs to validate, then it takes a bit longer on the test environment to then validate the calculation detail there. So let's see. So the premium was 1168.59. It changed to 1144.04. I've added an accessory and it then updated to 1171.04. Now let me see if my add additional is available. No, it's not. So I'll just continue. So that is the accessories items there. So you'll see the item insured amount also changed there. It was 19, I can't remember the exact amount now, but it was 19 something. Because we have added extras, it was calculated or added to the insured amount of that specific vehicle. I'll navigate to compensation, and this is where you can now see the breakup of the insured amounts of the vehicle and the various accessory items there. So remember I said on the drop down for accessories, there's also an option for factory fitted in the production system. So you will also be able to view the accessories amounts there. So there's my specified accessories amount. There is my limit of compensation for my vehicle. If at this point you would like to amend or change the vehicle insured amount, you can do that simply by deleting that and then recapture the insured amount, and then obviously this amount will change there. I don't want to do it now. I'm just scared it will kick me off and then I need to start again on the testing environment. There's also guaranteed value. And I think we all are familiar with guaranteed value as brokers and relationship managers. So if you want to include the guaranteed value, simply click the yes button, and then obviously it will have an impact on the client's premium there for the specific vehicle. If we have a no claim bonus, which is different to the 5, we can then select it. I'll say it's a 6, and once you select the 6 option there, we need to indicate that there is proof for that specific no claim bonus. You can also indicate whether the vehicle has been modified or built up. And if we answer any of these 2 questions, we then need to upload documents to substantiate that selection there. I'll move over to coverages for now. So on the coverages screen, we can then also change the voluntary excess of the specific item. So let's say, for example, you want to play around and the premium is still a bit too high and you maybe want to add a voluntary excess for the specific client. You'll see our voluntary excess defaults to no. If you want to add, you simply click on the little pencil icon there. A new dialog screen will open for you as user, where you then can add a voluntary excess for the client. Once you have added the voluntary excess on one specific field, it will then update to any of the other fields where a voluntary excess is applicable. Then I want to move over to the attachments before I calculate again. And if you attach any documents, it will display here. Alternatively, you can also add additional documents from the specific field here. So nothing changed there. I also want to go to the optional cover. So all again on my coverages. So essential coverages, you can do the voluntary excess. Once you're on the liability coverages, this we did not enable because this is required covers for that specific vehicle. If you want to, for example, add any optional coverages, which would speak to your vehicle hire, for example, here is your vehicle hire. So you'll see there's no tick next to some of this. However, Sasria is selected, and this tick indicates that this vehicle is, or this premium is inclusive of the Sasria bit there. So if you want to add vehicle hire, for example, again, simply click the pencil icon. We click the include radio button. Then we'll have a vehicle class option, and depending which option the client would select or would choose, you will select it there, and you will have an option for the number of days between 15, 30, or 60 days. We click save, and now we can recalculate. You'll see the premium change there again to 1144. Remember, I changed the no claim bonus to a higher no claim bonus there as well. And there is our premium went down because we've added the voluntary excess there, and obviously we added the vehicle hire there. So our new premium now is 1238.54. Okay. So now let's say, for example, the client say, okay, fine, what was my premium before I've added this vehicle, and what will the premium be? You simply navigate to the quote screen. So there you click on that screen, and this will then show you a breakdown of the premium. So here we see the premium was without that specific vehicle, and it will be with that vehicle, and this will be the difference between the old and the new premium. But we further went and we built the lined premium just to break it down for you, to show what is the old premiums per line and what will the new premium be per line of business. If the client is happy with this quotation, or you as the broker is satisfied with the quotation, we can navigate to the action screen, and all these options will then be available for you to select from. So let's say the client say, I am happy with this quotation, please accept that quotation for that specific vehicle. You will then select the option Accept Quote, click the Done button. Say, okay, we're transferring this to our personalized contact center. Once this has been transferred to the contact center, a consultant in the contact center, personalized contact center, will then receive this request. But I'm going to stop there with the amend functionality for the vehicle. Are there maybe one or two questions on this functionality before I move on?
Yes, there is a question from Shamaine. She says, what if I'm not happy with your code?
So that speaks to the redefining the quotation or the adding of additional discounts. So I'll answer this in two parts. So let's say, for example, you are not happy with the premium as we have displayed it here. I'll just want to open it quickly again. So the client say, no, this premium is too high. Can't you reduce it? Now, the client is maybe not interested in additional voluntary excesses. You now want to add additional discounts. The only thing that you can then do is you can transfer to contact center. Alternatively, ask the contact center to then arrange for additional discounts for you. At this point in time, we did not build the discounts component on the vehicle, on the broker portal. I'm not sure, I can't remember if we are going to look at it for this side of the year. However, I know there is a requirement to build a discount capability on the broker portal. But before we build that the discount broker portal capability, we must first get the sign-up from our business stakeholders and then obviously from our underwriting stakeholders as well. So you can either request discounts from the contact center or you can play around with the voluntary excesses there. Another question, please, Bertha?
Yes, it's from Leandri. The value of the M&M code you used is pulling through the retail value in the TransUnion guide and not the market value. That's why I'm asking the value question. I'm sitting with the book in front of me. Please advise.
So that question, Leandre, we saw your email and it was quite a lengthy question. I'm going to refer that to your relationship manager to explain that in detail for you. Okay. So as far as we have it on our system, we work with the market value. So the relationship manager will have to explain the explanation which you can give to your client with regards to retail and market value understanding. Okay. So let me just done this. Thank you, Bertha. I'll wait for the list of questions and then I'll draw the summary again for that. There's also a user guide for this functionality available under references and forms. So that is the amend functionality. I want to move over to the inquiry bit of the broker portal. Okay, so that is the inquiries that we are going to do today. So I first want to start with the personal policy, and I just want to get my policy, or let me start with commercial. So I'll search my commercial policy. So this is now a general inquiry to see what lines of business are on this specific policy. Are the active maybe a fire item or fire section active? And what type of documents can I request for a commercial policy? So here you'll see again, this is my commercial policy. And I now want to see the lines of business available on this policy. So when you search for a policy, it will land on the summary screen. We will then navigate to the cover screen. Okay. So whilst it's opening there, I just want to take your attention to this field here. On a personal policy, you will have the transactions button, which is addition to this list of buttons there. That is mainly because we do not have the add vehicle functionality available on commercial. So you won't have the transactions button for commercial policy there. Okay. So immediately when the cover screen opens, you'll see there's my property line, liability, accident, or whatever other line, and you'll see there is included and not included. So what this is indicating to you as a user is I have a property line on this policy, and yes, it is included. then there is available a liability option, but it's not included on this specific policy. Okay. If you want to then view the various coverages available on this commercial policy, so you'll see our landing will be on the general section, which is on the commercial policies. So there you'll see section general, it's included, and there we have locks and we have security costs, which also states as included. You'll see there's no value that display there. However, if you want to view the values, you'll see there's a little plus sign. You click on the plus sign and now it will then give you the insured limit, which is applicable together with the first amount payables for that specific description. Now, if you want to inquire on further detail, you'll see there's also a drop-down for policy conditions and exclusions. If the policy has any conditions and exclusions, it will then be available under this specific fields there. So let's navigate to the property line of business. So under the property line of business, you'll see there's a whole list of property sections which will display, and you will immediately see which of these property sections are included on this specific policy. How will you identify it? Simply by viewing the specific section, and then you'll see what is that premium for that section. If a section is not included, they will simply be noted not included. Then if you want to view that line of business or the section, again, you just click on the section. We will validate your selection, and then we will display that specific section information for you there. Again, there's a plus sign. You will see what is my claims preparation costs, and the clauses and extensions. You click on the drop down there and you will see if it's included or not. And again, your plus signs will then give you more values for the extensions there. And this is how you can inquire on your lines of business. Obviously, if it's not included and you want to click on the section, there will be no data available there for you. Just under the engineering line, I just want to illustrate the electronic equipment view for you. So there we have three sections under the engineering line. We have machinery breakdown, we have electronic equipment, and we have deterioration of stock. So there you'll see electronic equipment is included there with a premium. I'm going to select that. And as soon as I select, yes, the information will display there for the CPC. However, there's also another drop down under the selection there, which will then display your premises and your buildings information. So once you have selected your premises and your buildings option, you will then be able to view the specific coverables and coverages, if any, which is available under that premises or for that specific building. Okay. That is how you will inquire on a commercial policy. Now, let's say, for example, we have inquired and we also want a summary view of this specific policy. I want to show you quickly, there's the claim screen. You'll see there's one claim on this policy. Now I want to request a summary of this specific policy, but I want to include the claims history for this policy. And it's a fairly new policy, and we'll do claims detail next week. So I'm not going to discuss any further claims detail in this session. So we navigate to the download summary button on the right hand side. So I'll click on download summary. Then you'll see there's an option, do I include the claims history, yes or no? I include claims history. I click on complete summary selection. And then at the bottom, left hand bottom there, my document will then display for me. Once I click there, the document will then open in a new window, which will then display the summary of my specific policy for the commercial. This is a breakdown of that policy. And if I scroll down on this documents, this will then display my claims history for me. Okay. Then further to that, we will also have additional information for the policyholder. So this is a complete summary for the commercial policy. If we, however, want to request further documentation like a complete policy schedule or a confirmation of cover letter, and I think I went a bit faster. Let me just go back to the policy. So we simply navigate to the request document button. So the two document buttons are on top of each other. So the download summary will specifically speak to a summary version, and the request document will be for all the other documentation which is available via the broker portal. So we'll click on request documents. Then you will have an option to select the document type. So the drop-down option will allow you to select a commercial lines territorial letter, a confirmation of cover letter, which will be very handy now, specifically in the holiday season or holiday period. And then you will also have a policy schedule. I know the policy schedule request is a little bit longer, so I'll select it now, and then I'll go back to it. And you can also change the date on which you want to select the contract on. So I'm going to say generate. The system will tell you your document has been generated. I'll click OK. And I just want to select a new request for you. And my other request will be a confirmation of cover letter. I want it for my vehicle. There's my vehicle. I'll generate a document. Again, the document is being generated there. I'll say OK. And then I also want to select a territorial letter. So again, on my drop-down, commercial territorial letter, now we need to indicate when will the client be leaving the country and when will the client come back. So we will then say the client is leaving today. The client is only coming back the 30th of November. We select our item once again. We generate the document, and the system will then give you a validation to say the document is being generated. I'll click on OK. And if I now go back to policy and I go to correspondence, then my documents should be there. You'll see there's my confirmation of cover letter already, which I can then either email or I can download this document. So let me download this one. And you'll see it will take a while for it to download. It's just running there in the background. And once it's done downloading, it will also then display here at the bottom for you. Let me open and view this one. And there is my confirmation of cover and financial interest, if any, is then also noted on this specific vehicle. If I want to view my confirmation of cover, let me just see if that one came through already. There's my territorial letter, sorry. So I'll download that one as well. Again, it's generating. There's my territorial letter, and there's my date which I have selected, and there's my vehicle detail. Okay, and that is how you will request documentation on a commercial policy, and that is how you will inquire on a commercial policy. So I want to illustrate the inquiry on a personal policy for you. So I'll search my personal policy. So the illustration will be very similar to what I've done now on the commercial policy. However, this is just for a personal policy. I search for my policy. I will then land on the summary screen after I have my policy. Then I want to inquire to see the type of items that's on this specific policy. Immediately you will see a breakdown of your lines of business there. However, I want to see more information pertaining to this policy. So I'll click on cover, and there I will see there's a property line, there's an all risk line, a vehicle, there's no watercraft, and I also have a casualty line with value added products which are included there. So on my property line, I will see my line coverages, which will speak to my claim preparation cost and whatever other coverages I have there, and each limit will then be available if you click on the plus signs there. You can either hide that information again simply by clicking on the up or down arrow there. and then you'll see there is more items there. So we'll click on the address detail. So there you'll see the start date, you'll see the contents insured amount, you'll see the building insured amount, what type of premises it is, what the type of dwelling is, and all the underwriting questions which we have answered. Then if I hide that information, I can then also look at the security measures which is available on the specific item. So there you'll see there's electric fencing. Under the contents, you will see there's guards or whatever else the coverages are under that specific contents. Then on my building again, open the drop-down arrow and you'll see the conditions and exclusions which is separated by means of a heading there. Under the vehicle section, I want to specifically move to the vehicle section. So you'll see again your line coverage. So what is applicable for this specific line of business. There are my 3 vehicles. So I'll open my Mini Cooper. So there you'll see all the information. I suggest, or I think rather, that all of us are familiar with the Santam Smart Park offering. If this vehicle would have a Smart Park offering, you will then see under the general information, limited mileage, either yes or no. So this one does not have the Smart Park option. But if the client would take the Smart Park option, this would be noted as yes. And if you scroll down, the condition will then also be available to indicate whether the client took 5, 10 or 15 kilometers limit will then be available under the conditions tab there. So again, if they had Smart Park, it would be yes there, and the condition will be under the option for conditions and exclusions there. Now, if the client wants updated documents, no need to contact the contact center, or if you want a document just to file on your side or to make notes or have discussions with your client, again, summaries, simply navigate to the download summary option there. We can click on download summary. Then again, we can include the claims history. And you'll see on the commercial side, we did not have a compact summary option. That is still in the process of being built for commercial. However, this, if you select the compact summary, it will just generate a shorter version of the summary. So I'll just show that to you quickly. So there's basically just a quick one-pager with the claims history included there. If we want a compact summary, again, download, including claims history, complete summary. There is my complete summary. So this is a little bit more with a cover letter. And here we will then display the claims history again for you. So the compact summary is similar to the old AA210 via the mainframe system. Okay. So also if there's more documentation which you want to request, just simply click on request document. It will then navigate to the document type options again. I'll start with confirmation of cover. I'll select this time for a building maybe, and for a vehicle at once. And for the Toyota Fortuner, I'll say generate. Let's see, it's busy validating. And it will take some time because I have selected multiple items. So there's my building, there's my one vehicle, there's my second vehicle. I'll say, okay, I want a new request for my territorial letter. And this one, I'll come back the 31st of December. I'll go with the Fortuner. I'll say generate. System will tell you I'm busy generating. And then I want to request a full policy schedule for this specific policy. Generate. I'll say okay. And now if I go to my dashboard and search for my policy again, go to correspondence. Just want to refresh in the meantime. Okay, I see it didn't pull through as yet, so only the other day's documents will be there. So let's see if I refresh. Okay, so it seems like there is a delay on the commercial, on the personal policy side. However, that will be the navigation for requesting documentation for a personal policy, very similar to that of the commercial policy. However, the only difference is the commercial policy does not have the compact summary as yet, or the old 210 as yet. And we are busy looking at building that option there at the navigation for the requesting of documents, and the inquiring on a policy is very similar at this point in time. I'm going to pause there with the demonstration. If there are any other questions, please let us know, and we'd be happy to then answer those questions for you. Like I've said earlier on, if we get questions where there are process questions or where the relationship manager needs to discuss it in more detail with you, please send it through anyway, and we will refer the questions to the relationship manager. Alternatively, we will note it on the frequently asked question document, which Bertha will then communicate to the relationship managers either today or tomorrow. We will then also share with you again the PowerPoint, although it's a very summarized version for today. Next week we will look at the claims registration, and then we'll also look at the claims tracking. But I also want to show you the new version of the claims tracking and the claims registration, which will be implemented as of next year. I'll check which month you are scheduled for your region, and then I'll share that for you upfront also. But I'm going to stop the session there. I know it's 1 minute earlier. We're almost on 2. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I'll see you next week, Thursday, 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock. Have a good week further.